Welcome to the home of Project Dream Mastery. Here at PDM, we are challenging the status quo of what it means to follow your dreams and how to unlock the power those dreams will bring to your life. The show experience will be unscripted, authentic, and transparent. So now, sit back, relax, and get inspired with your hosts, Lucas Johnson and Patryk Labuzek.
Hey, do you know that feeling of regret that creeps through your head every waking second of the day? That feeling that you should have done something, or perhaps that feeling of being pissed off that you didn't make the first move? Or those sudden thoughts that you wish your life was better? Well, in this episode, we have a very, very special guest, and from one of our favorite places actually in the entire world, that's Australia. So, yeah, so this episode is going to be absolutely epic. Stay tuned for what we have to say.
So welcome to the 13th episode of the Project Dream Mastery Show, where we help inspire you to follow your dreams, defy expectations, dream big, and love deeply. My name is Lucas Johnson, based out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
And I'm Patryk Labuzek, based out of Dublin, Ireland.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to be the first to receive new episode releases. And if you have any questions that you would like answered on the show, please tag us on Twitter or Facebook at Project Dream Mastery. Just in case you're interested in the full experience, this episode is available with video. So check out our website at projectdreammastery.com/listen to watch now.
Guys, this episode is going to be hands down epic, intense, and insane. And it's not every day that we have the humble privilege of bringing a guest onto the show from another side of the world. I know, man, it's been tough aligning those 3 time zones together to make this a reality, but we did it. So today we have an amazing guest by the name of Trav based out of Victoria, Australia. And for this episode, we'll be focusing on stomping regret to live to your bucket list.
Patty, I am pumped to get the show started, so let me get Trav introduced properly. Trav's life started off very different than it is today. At 21 years old, he co-founded a super successful personal training franchise. Now, most of us would say, wow, that is incredible. However, Trav found himself in a bit of a rut and decided to pursue a different life calling, which we will cover shortly. Today, Trav, the bucket list guy, is one of Australia's most in-demand motivational speakers and sought-after life and business coaches. Since being named the bucket list guy, he has become a globally recognized thought leader on the topic and has been crowned the world's #1 bucket list expert. He's dedicated his life to helping others wake up and live theirs before it's too late. In addition, Travis presented a TED Talk, which has since received over 135,000 views on YouTube. Very exciting. He has worked with major organizations such as Adidas, PwC, ANZ, BP, National Guard, Grand Height, and many others. His coaching business has roots all over the world, which says enough in and of itself. Trav's business, The Bucket List Guy, and Project Dream Mastery are very well aligned in regards to our missions, and we are honored to have him on today's episode. So without further ado, welcome to the Project Dream Mastery Show, Trav. We're super excited to have you on with us today.
Patryk, Lucas, that was honestly the best introduction I think I've ever received. Awesome, guys. Stoked to be on.
Happy to hear it. So,
Appreciate
Trav,
that.
Trav, there are no expectations here, first of all. So, and if there are, we believe in defying them. So, let's just dig in. Let's break the ice. Say whatever you feel like is important to, content-wise. And, just want to say we did a bit of research. We do it about all of our guests. And needless to say, well, your story is truly, truly incredible. So why don't we start right there? Tell us about your story and what has been the main inspiration for chasing your dreams.
Well, I guess, it was always breakdown before breakthrough, right? So for me, I went through about a depression. I found myself, instead of going on heavy antidepressants and sleepwalking through my life, I decided, because that's a bit of a Band-Aid effect, I decided to, get to the root cause, really study psychology, NLP, positive psychology, Akagi principle, law of attraction. I did this is about 10 years ago. I was doing every course known to man, spending a bunch of money, investing a lot of money to really get to the cause of why I was going through what I was going through. Things just got on top of me. And it was actually a friend of mine in one of these seminars that said, "Hey, Trav, why don't you teach this stuff? You got a fair bit to share." And for me, that helped me compartmentalize what I was going through at the time. And I, quite frankly, put on a talk. I invited 40 friends, family, and fools to come along. I nearly had to pay them to be there. When I look back on that talk compared to what I do now, it was shocking. But again, you got to start somewhere. I was shitting myself though. I honestly was. And but during that talk, funnily enough, I started sharing my list to do before I die. I always had one written down since I was 18. I'm 47 now, so this is only 10 years ago I started sharing this, and a lot of people in that room did not know I had one of these lists. So I actually wrote it down, and I shared it with the group in that webinar, in that seminar, and it inspired people. Most people's goals are pay off the house, put the kids through school, do a bit of travel when they're older and possibly sicker. So for me, it kind of broke the mold in terms of their thinking of the way they looked at their life. And right at the end, someone said, "How's all this list to do before you die stuff?" It's really inspired people, inspired us. It went from a shitty seminar to a not so shitty seminar. And Joe, one of our clients at the time, said, "Oh, this list, it's like a bucket list. You're like the bucket list guy." And that went bang, light bulb moment. I went home and registered the bucketlistguy.com, and I've been doing that ever since.
That's amazing. The bucket list guy in the house. Woo, woo.
Yeah, but here's a spoiler alert, gents. When I was registering it too, and I was on the Google machine, and it's probably more than 10 years ago now. I was like, who's like the Mac Daddy? Who's like the king? Who's like the thought leader? Who's like the expert of bucket lists in the world? Oh, look, no one. So I literally called myself the world's #1 bucket list expert, and that, because no one else was doing it, no one else was claiming the title. So stuff it, I'll do it. So here I am. But that's the story of my life. Throw yourself in the deep water, learn how to swim. But it's really cool. Like I get called up for magazines and media and this sort of thing, and they're like, "Oh, we're doing this big spread on bucket list on our magazine, and we've got all these experts, but we really want yours because you're the world's #1 bucket list expert." I'm like, you got me. I'm pretty busy, being the world's #1 and everything, So sorry to spoil it, but I like to just be real.
Self-declared is now a reality. I mean,
well, that's it. Yeah, the world has conspired, and here we are, doing this thing, but it has compounded, and I have studied this phenomenon, I guess, more than anyone in the world. I've applied, really at the essence of it is positive psychology, which is really the science of happiness, helping people, experience more meaning, more purpose, and more fulfillment in their life before they get given a use by date. That's what it's all about. So I want to help more people live regret-free lives rather than regretful lives. And this is the brand, the bucket list brand is what we've put over the positive psychology principles. We've actually called it bucket listology. We've actually written a white paper that explains what we're doing. It's not a real science. I get called a bucket listologist as well. That is not a real science either. We made that up, but we have written a white paper because when we go into companies and do big programs, they love to see what is the theory, what is the research, what's the studies behind, the stuff that you teach, and that's essentially what it's all about.
We talk a lot about perception on this show and how people perceive you, but also how you are perceived in society. I mean, you saying that I'm the #1 bucket list expert in the world, that has a lot of weight because now people are perceiving that. And it's just incredible how you took that one and it's become reality.
Yeah, well, I actually believe it now. Like the proof's in the pudding. We've got certified bucket list coaches now in 22 countries, about to be 23, 24 countries probably this week, and we're We've just, you know what, and you know what it's like in business. You just got to stay in your lane. You know, pick a highway, then pick a lane, then own the lane. Our lane is bucket list. No one can question it. We've created so much noise and so many programs, and everything around this concept of bucket list. And it's really a deep reflection of who I am anyway. So this is the filter. This is how I look at life. And we've really, like, it's more than just a brand. It's really create a tribe, create a network, create a movement, I guess, around the whole thing. So I guess we've just lumped all this content onto this brand, and it has reinforced it, year on year.
Now, Trav, when you went up on the TED stage, how was that? How did you feel? Like, that's
fucking
not
nervous.
Everyone gets asked to do that, man.
Fucking nervous. I mean, if you notice about 3 minutes into it, if you've watched it, and I'm like, doing the whole, I was super nervous. Here's the thing. It was on my bucket list, obviously, too. And you see me tick it off live in front of everyone. There's about 2,000 people in front of me there, right? It's the biggest in Australia at the Melbourne Exhibition Centre, and 2,000 people in front of me, and 4 cameras on me, and me on a 3x3 red dot. Now, I run around like an idiot when I normally do talks, and me being on a 3x3 red dot is like a monkey in a cage, honestly. But I was super nervous because, John Yo, who's the curator of TEDx Melbourne, said, "Look, mate, don't do your regular shtick. We don't want professional speakers up here doing their thing and, insert joke, insert laugh, it's not about that. You're not doing a company presentation here. It's about the idea we're spreading." And it helped me really reinvent the message. And I've been doing it ever since. So really, kudos to John Yo of TEDx Melbourne. Shout out, because he really does curate some amazing events and really sticks to the ethos of TED. And so, for me, it was about introducing and unpacking a concept, a piece of intellectual property called the My Bucket List Blueprint. As you know, it's a 12-step acronym for how to create a personally meaningful and holistic bucket list. It really helps people sort of go north, south, east, west in their own heads, and helps them, extract and articulate everything that they want to do in life. And people have watched that. They've sent me all sorts of messages. It's changed lives. It's helped people through depression. It's helped people, it's helped people with, who are on suicide watch, mate. There's been some crazy testimonials and things come out of it. But being on the TED stage, was a big tick on the bucket list. I know it is for a lot of other people, and but it was terrifying, even as a professional speaker. It was terrifying. And here's the other thing I've got coming up soon. Hopefully I can do it by the end of the year, and I want to do it in front of a live audience, and that is a stand-up comedy gig.
Oh, nice.
I am fucking shitting myself. and I'm like, I'm a keynote speaker. I've got no problem making an idiot of myself in front of thousands of people on stage, talking about what I already know. Well, look back on it now. I've done the TEDx thing, but stand-up comedy, it probably freaks me out more than anything I've ever done.
Now, where is that taking place, Trav? Is that in Australia as well, or do you have a different place in mind?
Patryk, I'm not going to fucking tell you, because it's I'm not telling you. I'm not telling anyone where it's going to be or when, because I know all my mates and you guys will be in there. I'm not, if I told everyone that I'll have there'll be no room for anyone, like any general public. It'd all be my mates, on the drink, just heckling. It'll be, and I won't even get anything done. So it has to be Yeah.
You know,
Anyway.
we like to think we're locals there in Australia. We spend quite a bit of time, like 8 months. So, you know, if you feel like we can become one of the mates after this, just hit us up. You have our email.
Where did you go in Australia? Where did you live in Australia? Where you just did the traveling thing?
No, so you want to go, Lucas?
No, go, Patty.
So we went on a student exchange. I went from Dublin, Lucas went from Pennsylvania, and we went to UNSW in Sydney.
Oh, okay.
So that's where we met up on a beach on the first day, Coogee Beach, which was
that's romantic, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, we became very, very good friends. Got some amazing talks, and then we did quite a bit of traveling all around Australia. Honestly, every weekend it was a road trip weekend. We would
come down to Melbourne. Come down to Melbourne.
Yeah, we've spent how many days?
Did the Great Ocean Road.
I did. And it was absolutely stunning. The 12 Apostles, the whole ocean road in itself. We've seen some wild koalas in the park as well. Very party spot.
I live about 20 minutes east of the start of where I am right now. I'm 20 minutes east of the start of the Great Ocean Road. And we, those 12 Apostles. We surf all through there.
Oh,
some
amazing.
big waves and even bigger sharks down there.
So, Trav, kind of relating to 12 apostles to the bucket list, the 12 that are outlined here. I'm just curious, what is a fear? I know that the comedy is the kind of a fear that you have. What is a recent fear that you have overcome in your life?
Well, it's not so much probably a fear, but I recently, 2.5 years ago, I became the stepdad to 4 kids.
Oh.
And I never thought I'd be a dad, and here I am. I'm adopted myself, and I'm I feel like I'm paying it forward, and I got 4 amazing kids, and I was kind of, I guess, fearful of that to a certain extent. But now it's like, no, they're because they're amazing. That one, and then I surfed some pretty big waves the other day, and that's another fear. But no, recently, when we talk recently, there's not a lot of stuff, because honestly, fear to me is kind of like a signpost as to I should do it. Because I'm really fascinated, really curious about what's, the bigger version of myself on the other side. See, I say with this whole bucket list thing, it's not just about writing a bucket list or getting one out of your head and writing it down. It's really about how you reverse engineer every aspect of your life in order to make this stuff come to fruition. And it's a growth of view on that journey towards these, personal destinations, but more importantly, it's about the person that exists on the other side, the person that you don't know yet, and that's actually, it's called our potential, right? And that's what I'm excited about all the time. That drives the spirit of adventure. That drives the facing of the fears. What else can I do? Like I said in that TED talk, people are dying at 40 and being buried at 80. There's a lot of people just give up. And the whole matrix, that society is built like that. I'll be happy when syndrome, waiting for the perfect time to come around, or waiting for some day to arrive, which isn't a day of the week. A lot of people just give up and they start sleepwalking through their life, and they just exist. They don't live. They're living by default, not by design. So at the end of the day, me being, I guess, congruent to our global message now, is always facing the fear and doing it anyway. Like as long as it's all within reason, of course. But there's not too much I won't try. In Cambodia, last year, I ate 2 foods that I probably shouldn't have. I was very fearful of doing that. I don't know what that popped up. I ate king cobra, and wait for it, goat's penis.
Wow.
That, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In like this, in this is soup, fucking disgusting. But my I was doing a talk over there, and my hosts were like, "Oh, this is we took. I went to this restaurant that one of the guys owned, and this is what they, this is one of their dishes that they've got. And Cambodia has been through, genocide and
Mhm.
everything else, through Pol Pot, and so the whole country starved, and they just grabbed whatever they can, and some of their dishes stayed. I don't know why that. I can understand maybe the cobra thing, but the fuck's with the the other one. And I'm like, are you guys, there's 10 of them around me, and they're all like business associates, and I'm like, do you make every foreigner eat this? And they're like, yep. Do you guys eat this? And then you got 10 guys just smashing fucking goat penis in front of me, and I'm like, Jesus. Okay, well they can. I'm like that, so I faced the fear and did it anyway, and that was more about peer pressure.
Yeah.
So
Peer pressure gets the best of us, right?
yeah. It's,
So one of my favorite analogies, especially on the TED Talk, was the 80 squares. That really gave me perspective. I'm 23 years old, so I'm still working my way through life, still working my life through going through the demons and all that. 80 chances, kind of looking at life as a program or fully loaded application. Once it hits 100%, game over. And looking at it from that lens, for me, just yesterday, and really looking through and reviewing and going through everything, I was kind of like thunderstruck, man, just sitting there like, shit, what have I done? What do I want to do? Where do I see my future? And just that, Trav, is huge for me. I mean, having guests on the show is great, but having the realization just from being able to go and review is.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. And when you when you get to 40, this shit really fucking sinks in. Like I did that how's this, right? I did that exercise for a superannuation, which is like our retirement plan in Australia, a 401k in America it's called. And I had about 400 very old people in the audience. Let's just call them very old people. So it was a superannuation or 401k conference, put on by mortgage, a bank or something. Anyway, so I did that exercise, and when I do the exercise, I give everyone a sheet, and they write down, that they do the 80 squares. Now, 80 squares, just for the listeners, watchers at home, basically represents our years on Earth. The average age of death is 83 for girls, 70 and 79 for us guys, right? Same as America, same as Australia, same as Ireland. In places like Vietnam, in Cambodia, it's like 70. In some countries, 65. I've done this in Vietnam, very low down there. I've done this in India, very low in there. Done this in South Africa, very low there too. And then I have everyone, cross out of the 80 squares. It hits you like a ton of bricks. I have them cross out the ones that have been alive. So if you're 40, half of them are already gone. And you're looking at it going, fuck, okay. So, and then I ask 3 very poignant questions of every group. I say, okay, question number 1, how many people in this room? And this might be, like the TED talk, there's 2,000 people in front of me. Of that 2,000 people, I said, all right, well, how many of you know people have been diagnosed or died from cancer? And you see 2,000 people. From my perspective, 2,000 people put up their hands going, yep. And everyone knows someone, right?
Yeah.
Diagnosed or died from cancer. Just like the movie, the bucket list movie. The second question I ask is, how many people do you know have been diagnosed or died from cancer? Show of fingers. All right. And then you'll get people put up 2. Younger audience, you'll see 2s, 3s, 4s. Older audiences, they're nearly all this and putting up their feet for toes. And that's scary. 2,000 people doing this. I said, look around the room. And everyone's like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, I said, all right, this is what sinks the audience. This is the virtual cancer diagnosis that I like to disrupt people with, not shock them, but disrupt them. All right. And that is, the third question is, how many of them that you just said with your fingers, how many of them made their 80 squares? Radio silence. People might put up ones or two fingers or whatever. So people really quickly realize, as we have just now, how prevalent this is, and how little time we do have left. We don't know when our time is up. And that kind of shocks people into, maybe I better, create some time out of my life to work on my life, separate my daily to-do list from my bucket list, and let's get fair income, as we say here in Australia. Let's get fair income about this. Let's start giving that some priority over my daily to-do list. And let's choose happiness. That's what it's all about, right?
Why do you think people get in their this idea in their head that they can't do this? They can't achieve their dreams. They can't pursue their bucket list. They can't achieve something. Why do you think that it's become such a common, I would like to call it a common misconception that you can't do it? I mean, in reality, you can. You just got to focus your time and effort. Why do you think nowadays it's even more prevalent than it was?
Well, I don't know if it is. I don't know. In some people do, some people don't. But I think the common misconception is the perception of a bucket list. People think that a bucket list is running around the world doing all the travel adventures that you want to do, that takes a lot of time and money to do. That's why I actually created this My Bucket List Blueprint, is to help people be instantly gratified, rather than wait for the delayed gratification of what travel might bring. That they can actually, do things now rather than wait until someday or the perfect time. See, learning a new, take lessons, learning a new skill, learning a new language, learning, I've been on a lot of stuff in the last 6 months, on a lot of podcasts and interviews and things about bucket list in the face of COVID-19 and the lockdowns and everything else that's going on, and giving them a huge perspective shift. One, to help them choose happiness, because the mental health of the planet is fucked right now. It's got really bad, like double depression. Doubled the stats on depression in the last 6 months. It's crazy. So we're already screwed, and now we're even worse. So these tools help people see the light at the end of the tunnel, that they can go after those low-hanging fruit, these achievable things on their bucket list, and not wait until I've got the money and the time off to do the things that I really want to do on my travel bucket list. Travel's only one of the 12 items that we unpack as part of the My Bucket List Blueprint. So I think the overall perception of a bucket list is wrong. All right, a lot of people. I created the contra perception of what a bucket list was, and at the end of the day, I think a lot of people don't do their bucket list because they are so busy being busy. They're busy on their to-do list, not on their bucket list, and they don't give themselves time out of their lives to work on their lives. That's what our coaches do. They simply, help people take time out of their life, to work on their life in groups, and help them separate their daily to-do list from their bucket list, and help them prioritize their life more so than just their work and their daily to-do list. I say a bucket list is a tangible life plan, where our business plan or a career plan should fit into our life plan and not be the other way around. They're really and when you're engaged in your life plan, you'll be engaged in your business plan and your career plan. It's just how it works. There's a direct flow-on effect. But I want people to be happier now, and that's what we've created it. Because look at the rates of depression, anxiety, suicide. We've even got this thing called the loneliness epidemic now. Now, like, Google it. It's a real thing. It's the adverse effect of social media. And so I'm trying to bring, and my team are trying to bring these tools, get these tools out there to people through mediums such as this, and everything else that we can, to help people tool up, to self-manage, to get, to a happier place and not be a statistic, because we're fighting a big, big battle in terms of the mental health problems that are going on right now. We're doing our little bit through this lens of bucket list to inspire, motivate, and hopefully help people be happier now rather than waiting till later on. But I think it's it's around, if you're hanging around other bucket listers, then it's going to rub off. If you're, why we don't do a lot of things is because of fear of success, fear of failure, hanging around the wrong people in the wrong relationships. You can call it the matrix society. It's all fear. It's all fear of embarrassment as well, standing out from the herd, being isolated, living life on your own terms, not fitting in with the other mammals is the thing that keeps us in a box. Fuck that. Like what gives you the, because people who want to be on your journey, who want to, who are encouraging you, who want to see you win, there's those people out there. The number one regret in this book called Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. These aren't fake books, by the way. These are real books. These are real books. Like, it's not just a Zoom fucking background here. Like, these are real books. I haven't read any of them, but that's not the point. But I've got one here that is apparently all right. It's called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, right? And the number one regret that Bronnie Ware spoke about in her book is, what is the number one regret? Quote, I wish I lived a life true to myself, not what others expected of me. Number one regret, right? Proven. Everyone refers to it. The number one regret is we're living in the shadow of someone else, normally our parents, normally our peers, normally the school that we went to, or whoever. So breaking that mold, living life on your own terms, which is this whole podcast is about, is honestly that's the fear, the fear of embarrassment, the fear of breaking away from the herd, the fear of defriending people that aren't supportive, the fear of getting out of relationships and forming new ones is super scary.
Well, now that you're talking about the fear and all that comes with it, there's a question kind of that lingers in my mind. It's basically, how do you respond to unsolicited feedback, the critics, the haters, let's even say? Is there a way that you handle them, and how do you do it?
I'll answer a question with a question. How do you reckon I deal with it?
How do you deal with the haters? It's for me, man. I'm just so sick of when we started Project Dream Master. We were just sick of the expectations people had on us. We were sick of living up to the standards of what people had for us, family, friends, peers. Just said, screw it,
Fuck them all. Fuck them.
Yeah.
You can't say it any clearer, hey? Like, I know this is probably PG and whatever else, but
I'm supposed to go for it.
Not at all.
Jesus Christ. I mean, we, and I think, I'm 47 now, and I think you just get older and more, angrier and more opinionated when you get older. So, but if you honestly are living to try and please everyone else, then you fucking lose. You're a loser.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're not winning, you're losing. And you're at the mercy of their agenda. You're their bitch. How does that feel?
Yeah.
Fuck that. You'll be unhappy for the rest of your life. If you don't draw a line in the sand, and sure, like if I've just coached too many people that are in this situation and going, I might, I might start that business, or I might do that. You do that thing, I might go after, a goal or something like that. Oh, but that's going to really piss off my, fucking. And people will project it. See, the thing is, we've got this critter brain, this reptilian brain that it's in us, right? It's in us. We can't get rid of it. It's part of our hereditary. It's part of our makeup. it's hardwired, and it's designed to keep us safe. Right? It's there so we can continue to be mammals. All right, and to reproduce and keep this thing called a human existence going. All right. So if you step outside of the norm, all right, step outside of being the mammal, step outside of the herd and the herd mentality, the critter brain will go off, and it'll say, whoa, come back, stay safe. So you can keep on fucking people and keep on making babies, and you can keep this thing called a human existence going, right? That's a very crude way of saying it, but I've said it. So the point being, you gotta, and that's why there's fear when you're jumping out of planes. That's why it's fear when you're standing up, on a stage talking in public. That's, these are all our reptilian brain going off. Say, no, come back. That's too much. You might harm yourself. I'm going to send out to your receptors as well. No, not good. There's some chemicals there to slow you down. Susan Jeffries, another fake book that I've got back there, is it's about that thick. You don't have to read it. You don't have to read it, because on the cover it says, "Feel the fear and do it anyway." They are your signposts. The point being is, you want to live your own life of no regrets. As Les Brown says, live fully, die empty. Be the master of your own destiny. I think that's the holy grail. Being at the cause, not the effect. Being at the cause that you create yourself and not the effect of others. And one of the interesting things a coach said to me once, said, imposter syndrome. Who am I to be the world's number one bucket list, expert? Who am I to be this speaker out there on the TEDx stages and speaking to audiences around the world? Who am I to do that? Where my brain's going, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Who do you think, and mates and parents going, you? Really? You? And I said to my coach once, look, there's so much fear associated with it, because I got into public speaking because I was fearful of it. It was the big domino that I had to push over in my life that affected a lot of the other confidence issues that I was going through. And at the end of the day, I said to the coach, what do you do about this? How do you become good at this? How do you stop this internal language going off all the time every time you step out? And he said, it's always going to be there, Trav. But what you got to do is go out and start helping people, mate. Go out and start helping people. Well, what do you mean? How's that going to help? You go out there and help enough people, and the adulation and the feedback and the testimonials and the real heartfelt messages that you'll receive back, that will drown out. You go and help enough people, that noise will drown out the noise inside your head, and no truer word has been spoken. So my advice to anyone who wants to step out is go help a shitload of fucking people.
Wow.
Yeah, and this thing will honestly, you'll just like it won't be a thing. And that's why I say to everyone, fail forward faster. Go out there now and address this. Go out and start helping people. Don't worry if you're getting you're paying. You're not getting paid for it at the start. Just go out and help people. Like what gives you the right to not go out there and play the biggest game possible while you're here? Right? Yeah. What gives you the right to keep the learnings from your personal life inside of you and not out there? Because I bet that your breakdown before breakthrough moments, your confusion before clarity moments, where we've learned a shitload about our lives, whether it's our life or our business or doing whatever, we've got a heap of learnings, but so many people keep those learnings within them and they don't share them. Yeah. But I bet there's a form of you, there's a bunch of yous out there that needs to hear these learnings. They need to, like this is the kind of advice that I give to people who want to write their own book. Is like, how dare you keep those fucking learnings inside you? That's you're they need to be out there. They need to be out there helping people. Like, get serious. How
Yeah.
dare you keep it within you? You know what I mean? That's not what it's about. But there's so many that do.
We had a previous guest talk about giving back, similar, obviously, 99.9%, just give. And we talked about how folks nowadays are so focused on monetizing everything and anything. Not even nowadays. I mean, for all of time,
Always.
people want to make money. And it's that kind of thought process of how can we get out of our head to just say, hey, give back, do this. What has, I don't know, have you ever had that mentality where it's like, all right, monetize this?
Yeah. But I've got to check in with the head or check in with the heart. Check in with the heart is actually one of my values, which is your values, your internal rule book, right? Is okay. And you go out and, you've heard it from Zig Ziglar and all these master coaches around. Go out and help enough people and they'll help you back, or something like that. Go out and help enough people. If it's like, oh yeah, go out and help enough people and charge them a shitload of money. Look, that's all well and good. But if you're focused on the money side of things, you're not going to be helping a lot of people. You're not. All right. It's scarcity thinking, not abundant thinking. All right. Set a number of people that you want to help, that you want to reach, whose lives you want to change for the better in whatever medium it is, and in whatever area it is. Like go out and set a big fucking hairy audacious goal number and a vision and a mission, and create some values around that. The vision is so big that it's unachievable in your lifetime, but the mission is more quantifiable. But our mission within Bucket List Coach is to help 10 million bucket listers live purposely fulfilled lives. No idea, still don't know how, but I know it. Yeah. And all of our team around the world knows it. And all we're doing is like, when the bucket list coaches go through training, is go, oh, we've got 10 million. All right, it's not 1 million. We can kind of do that, but 10 million, it's like, fuck, hell. How am I going to, so I'm like, all right, new bucket list coach in Chile or Finland or wherever you are. What's going to be your number? Like, we need you to contribute to this number as part of this. One of our new Canadian coaches said, I'm putting 100,000 into this. I'm like, wow. All right, there you go. Cool. All right. Anyone else? I'm probably 10,000. All right, cool. Well, let's reverse engineer what a business plan looks like on that 100,000, on that 10,000, on that 1,000. I don't care, but let's go and affect the lives. Let's go and get 10 million graduates of our programs. That's what we want.
Mm-hmm. I love the mindset, because it's what we talked about before. It's not the if, it's the when. And that's very important to taking up actions, and achieving our potentials, and, moving with the bucket list and all that.
It drives everything. Yeah, it drives everything. And it just shifts, it shifts your chemistry.
Yeah, it's very, very
it really
powerful.
Does. Yeah. So I challenge everyone to obviously write a vision for themselves. Write even a set of, Grant Cardone says, his 10x rule. A 10x. what's your 10x plan? In every area of your life. One of the interesting things that going into this whole COVID-19 lockdown and everything, and our April and May was shit, and it's different around different parts of the world. We've gone through phase 2 now here in Australia with really harsh lockdowns in Melbourne, especially. And we made a family pact, my partner Tracy and I and the kids, we made a pact that when this whole COVID-19 thing went down, to make a pact to come out of this stronger, better in every single area of our life. Like, to basically go, fuck you, COVID. you know, and like, and that's health, relationships, as parents, as leaders, as business, money, everything. So far, so good. And then some.
You took the question that I was just about to ask. You know, how has your outlook on relationships changed? How has on loved ones, friends shifted, or throughout your journey? I mean, in relationship outside of COVID-19, how has that shifted? Your perspective?
For relationships,
on loved ones, friends, so forth.
I've over the years of doing this, you know, I'm a personal development speaker essentially. So I've got to really, part of my values is integrity. So I've got to make sure that I practice what I preach. You know, if I'm going to say it from the stage, especially, I don't want to be found out as a fake or someone that's just like blah 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 blah, as full of shit. So I'm very determined to practice what I preach in my life. So you know, over the years, I've deliberately, I won't say culled because I'm not an asshole, but I've deliberately distanced myself from certain people, haters or people that aren't serving my goals. I've upgraded friends. I've you know, and that's just part of the game. You know, part of the process. Seeking networks and friends that do not exist in my life right now. I'm always doing that. You know, I know the types of people that I'm going to be friends with in the next, you know, 1 to 3 years. They don't even know it yet. Right? Because the thing is, when you break from the herd, like I was talking about before, and you become and you're not playing the role anymore. You've broken character. You're out of that character in that movie of their life. You've broken that character. You're no longer fitting in. Then, you know, the cool thing is even though you might feel ostracized, because we are mammals and that's where we get love and acceptance within the herd, just know there's another herd of people, another group of players that are running at a faster pace, that are waiting for you to catch up, to then give you love and acceptance at that level, at that faster pace. You know, maybe more, you know, different mindset, obviously. And I've done that again and again and again and again in my time. There's always kind of upgrading, always seeking to expand. And certainly never, you know, and always be coachable as well. So never thinking that, you know, I've got all the answers. So always willing to learn, always be coachable, always in that growth mindset.
Trav, you've gave us so much value today. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to be able to have this time with you. I know that it's late there and I know it's a big day. So I just want to pose one last question to you. Typically we wrap up the show with all the information, but there's been so much and just been absorbing it here. So I'm going to ask you one last question, kind of a recap. What are 3 pieces of advice that you could give people right now that are going to help them take massive action in their life?
Well, I'll obviously, you know, depends on who's listening and watching, but, you know, write your bucket list down. Like, actually write it down. Don't just think about it. Actually write it down. Okay. And because that in itself is a consciousness exercise. It's a separation exercise from your daily to-do list. You know, watch my TED talk, listen to this, use that as a guide, go through the My Bucket List blueprint and help, you know, extract this stuff and put it down on paper. Because if you actually write stuff down, you got a 42% more likelihood of actually manifesting. They might as well write it down. Second thing you're going to do is send it to us. Send it to me. I dare you. You'll see what happens. I'll put this out there, right? And you guys included. Lucas, Patryk, you're sending me your bucket list. Deal?
Right.
Start
have a deal.
Deal? Patryk,
deal.
You broke up there, Patryk. What
Sorry,
do you
yeah,
deal?
we have a deal. 100%.
Oh, we have a deal.
Sounds like a deal. It sounds like, yeah, that's a deal. We'll send that to you.
Good. And I want you to pay this forward to all of your watchers and listeners, your crew, and get them to send it to me, either by DM or trav@thebucketlistguide.com. That is my personal email. Send it to that.
Perfect.
I dare you.
Right.
Because I'm the world's #1 bucket list, as was
It's a reality now.
I might have magical powers in order to help that stuff on that sheet of paper come to fruition faster.
Amazing.
I may have those magical powers, but I may not. But the point being is, I want it right, and I want to help people really draw the line on the sand, draw the line on the sand, create a stop loss on what they're not going to tolerate from here on, or what they're not going to tolerate from here on, every aspect of their life. There was a reason you guys asked me that question about, going after fear and this sort of thing, and going after the life. What's going to be your new set of standards? What will and what won't you tolerate? Mm-hmm. That has to be defined. That has to be actually written down. The other thing I do this exercise with my private clients is detail what does a typical perfect week actually look like in your future world. What are you going to do? Who are you hanging around with? What sort of conversations you're going to have? Where are you living? Who's in your life at that point in time? What are you eating? What are you driving? What are your daily habits? What's your exercise routine? Like scary detail. I reckon that's the number one thing that flipped me. And it really helped me define who I was going to have in my life, what I was going to be doing, what I didn't, especially what I didn't want to have in my life. And it really created a set of rules of what I say no to and what I say yes to.
Wow. All right. That sounds like a challenge that has been laid. Go do it. We're going to take massive action and do that. We will send you that here this week. That is I'll set that on our next steps for us. And with that, let me give us a quick recap. If you're interested in connecting with Trav, you can find additional information in the show notes or find him on social media at the Bucket List Guy or Trav Bell.
Cool.
Yeah, just a little reminder that Trav has a great website where you can learn about his experiences, speaking and coaching. So feel free to check out thebucketlistguy.com.
Patty, you want to give them their homework for this week?
Sure. As we know, homework is very, very important to push ourselves forward. So, number one, as always, go follow Project Dream Mastery. It's going to help us, guys, and we're hoping it's going to help you guys too. Follow our socials, and on Thanksgiving Day 2020, we are giving away some pretty sweet merch to some of our followers. Now, watch Travis's TED Talk called Life's Way Too Short Not to Live to Your Bucket List, and check that out. A little bit of reading, guys. One of the great books is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. Definitely worth a read. It's very short, but it's really, really amazing, so do that.
It's a great book. I figured that was relatable today, so we could give him a little bit of homework there. So stop giving a fuck. Just go after it. Follow our man Trav here, and also make sure to accept that challenge and take that action. So we just launched our Patreon membership community where you can become one of our elite supporters and get exclusive access to early releases, live streams, and Q&A. We have a few different tiers available with some pretty sweet perks, so make sure to check them out and consider supporting the show. Go to projectdreammastery.com and click the red button that says Become a Patron to learn more. As we reach our monthly goals, we will have some pretty sweet giveaways. If you have not already, please make sure to review the show, subscribe, like, and share so that we can reach more amazing listeners like you. All of our shows are available in both audio, video, and written form, so make sure to check out our website to access the full experience. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode to come. Thanks, Trav, for joining us. It's been great.